The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by Mosaic, your Lightroom photos automatically on every device and backed up, and by Shootproof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 94. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. Last week, we looked at a few shiny new camera offerings and how they can affect your bottom line, the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone with face-to-face marketing, and discussed an Oscar-nominated movie completed using iPhone. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
So, Joe, we're back. How's it going, my friend?
It's going well. A little bit under the weather, but we're okay. Hopefully, I don't sound like a frog or something.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I'll keep drinking my coffee here. I do have the Nikon mug.
Yeah, out of the Nikon mug, right?
I'm not a Nikon shooter, but that's okay. We'll give him a plug.
I've got my Canon lens mug upstairs.
Do you?
Yeah, I just found that, in the whole office move here. It got packed away and everything in a box, and I was finally emptying out boxes and found it. So it's all dusty and everything. I'm like, put it in the sink. It's got to be cleaned.
Yeah, I know. That was and that mug was from one of the events that we covered. I don't know if it was like WPPI or if it was Photo Plus or something.
Yeah, I think it was Photo Plus. Didn't you win it at a tweet up or something? I thought, right?
I think so. Yeah. I remember I won it.
Yeah, I think that was our first Photo Plus we did together. That's when Jack Hollingsworth was there. We were doing his panel, and you were recording it and stuff.
Right. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
So anyways, some cool news, of course, this week. Instagram hits 1 million.
1
million milestone.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's 1 million that's using it per month, as Zucker would say. So he's very happy, spending the, $1 billion on Instagram. What was it, back in April or something of last year? So I'm sure he's happy about that, even though the TOS almost threw him under the bus, right?
Yeah. When they, what was it, 2 months ago, when Instagram announced that they were changing their terms of service and that now they could sell your images, and everybody blew a gasket, and they're like, oh, no, we had no intentions of selling your images. No, of course not.
Right.
You would have if people didn't bitch about it.
Yeah, exactly. You saw all of the, big people out there and all the stars and all that, all the actors and stuff that use it. They're like, wait a second. No. I don't think so. That's not how it's going to go down.
Right.
So yeah, it was, they pulled it through, congratulations to them, because that could have been extremely bad.
Oh yeah. It really could have damaged their business, for the long term. This was probably just a little hiccup. They worked themselves through, they laid low for a little while, probably going to be, making some improvements to the apps, and, oh, look at the shiny new stuff we have. People, love us again, and everything will be good.
Exactly. Look over here. Don't look there.
Yeah.
Look over here, not over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So Adobe releases, or at least puts out their candidate, 4.4, and the ACR, 7.4, I think. So that's kind of cool, because there's a lot of people out there that have the brand new cameras, especially folks like that have the Canon EOS, the 1DC. It spent $13,000 on the body, and they couldn't use Lightroom. So
yeah, it's nice now that Lightroom is supporting it, right?
Yeah. So Casio, they got a couple of Fuji film cameras, X100, X20, and of course Nikon, Pentax. I like that Hasselblad is in the mix too, along with Leica, the big, Leica M.
The Leica M.
I like the M. The M is cool. We talked about that. I think it was a few weeks back. Very neat. It's a monochromatic, basically like old school shooting, black and white photography.
Yep.
On a current censored body. So very neat. So there's a couple of new things that they actually added into the feature set that they gave a list. So we don't want to really get into it. You can go look online on Adobe's site to go take a look.
Yeah.
But they did do a lot of fixes, and the fixes are probably what more people are, looking for, like, crop overlay. That was a big problem with resizing stuff correctly, or it would kind of just get a little bit nuts, and a couple of other things. So go and, take a look at Adobe's site, look at Lightroom, see if it's something that they fixed that, could help you in your business. And if it is, go ahead and do the, grab the release candidate and use it.
Yeah.
Usually, be careful whenever you're not dealing with a full out release, because there are problems that could kind of happen. And this has happened in the past with releases where you end up with corruption, or you could also end up with, a batch of pictures that, just didn't import. You thought that they were, or you did a ton of editing on them and now the editing is missing.
Right.
There's a lot of issues, right, when you're dealing with, let's call it beta.
Yeah. No, I don't like using the release candidates, not for production machines. I mean, if you want to be on the cutting edge of the latest software and everything, I mean, that's great. But you know what? You and I were talking about this the other day, and actually we even kind of talked about it last week a little bit on the show about, do you really need the latest and greatest software and everything? And, we were kind of talking, saying that, Photoshop 7 could do 90% of what most people today even need, and here we are up to CS6 and all this stuff. And I mean, honestly, I'm using CS5, and I have a Mac Pro, a first generation Mac Pro Tower that is my daily work machine. And you know what? It works fantastic. It's fast as anything. I've got like 12 gigs of RAM. I've got an internal RAID, that delivers incredible throughput to capture HD video to the drives. I mean, the machine is working great. And if I were to go out and get the latest version of the software, then I'd have to upgrade the OS. And now I'm going to have compatibility issues. Now the machine's going to start running slow. So you really do need to look at it. Do you need the latest and greatest software? Is it worth the upgrade? Is it worth the potential downtime that you might incur? So
yeah, definitely. If you're going to go and check out one of the release candidates, make a backup of everything.
Oh yeah.
If possible, if you have multiple machines, put it on a non-production box, obviously.
Yep.
But it's a perfect example is, the guy that picks up the $13,000 Canon. Well, he's going to go to this release candidate. He's going to, because he would like to use Lightroom without having to go through hoops, converting to DNG and all kinds of there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. If you're not with something that's fully supported internally, you have to go through all kinds of craziness. So, for someone like that, I could say, well, you're going to have to bite the bullet and go with it. But if not, if it's not a feature set that is going to help you with your business, do something grand that you need it to do. Right. Just like you were saying, way back in Photoshop 7, the introduction of layers was like, and adjustments, non-destructive adjustments.
Yeah.
That was, the huge
that really was the turning point for me. I mean, because previously, before the adjustment layers came out, you would need to duplicate every layer. You would need to apply your effects to it because it was destructive. And that way, if you didn't like what you did, you could at least delete the layer and everything. And I mean, it just added so many more layers and so much more to the whole workflow. And so, yeah, when adjustment layers came out, that was great. When Content Aware came out in the newer version, I mean, that was a really big step that a lot of people use as a good starting point.
Exactly.
I mean,
and I think that was what, CS5. I think Content Aware.
I think it was
now.
CS5.
Now they've kind of, was it 5? I think it was 5. Then they went to 5.5 and that's it. But I think Content Aware was almost the equivalent to. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was almost equivalent, but it was a big milestone. It was a big jump forward. Is it great? Does it work fantastic? I mean, for just base stuff, or using pictures online that you're not going to be pixel peeping in there or printing large. Yeah. It works. It's a good start, and then you go in there and kind of massage the pixels to really get them straight. But yeah, Content Aware was definitely a big thing, and it would make let's say someone that was using, CS3, CS2, whatever, move to the CS5
Sure.
for content aware, just like with layers, once layers came out. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, like I said, if you need something that's in a brand new release that will help you with your business, either save you time or money, then I would say upgrade. This is worth
Sure.
an upgrade. It's just like a tool, carpenter. You get, the best tack hammer, it's gonna make your time. You're going to be using less time. Of course, time is money. So,
Yep.
buy the tools that are going to help you. If not, just, you don't have to always constantly go to that shiny new object. And that's the same way with the camera bodies. Unless the camera body is going to do something that's going to make you money or save you a ton of time, don't bother with it. It's really not that important. Camera manufacturers don't want you to know that, but it is the case.
Yep, that's right.
So one of the things that I saw that was kind of sparked my attention was a company, I think it was Luxi, turned out this new smartphone incident light meter. Now, when I saw that, I'm like, it takes me back. I look at my Sekonic, sitting here on the shelf that we use on a regular basis, and I'm like, wow. They introduced this. Do people even know what a light meter is? Do they care? Right?
Yeah, most digital shooters probably have never used a light meter at all. If you're a pro coming from the film days using a light meter, and that's part of your workflow, then there are probably pros out there who are still using light meters occasionally. But I guarantee you, people who started photography in the digital age probably have never used a light meter.
Yeah, they don't know how to, the value of it, how it can help them or whatnot. But this one is pretty cool because instead of just being, I've had one of these. Is it like something new that, oh my God, there's a light meter for, light meter app? No, they've come in the past, but this one is actually hardware and software, which is kind of cool. So you have your little dome like you would have on the Sekonic light meter.
Right.
It's like a little white dome. And it kind of balances off the light, and it's probably different thicknesses or who knows how they do it. So the software is calibrated, and you slip the dome over the lens in your camera, and now it's taking light from all the way around. Once again, it is an incident light meter, basically.
Yeah, it's using the camera chip to capture the light intensity as opposed to capturing a photo, to capturing an image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did see a video on it, and it looks like it's, pretty accurate, in comparison to what a camera would give you in the same light, in the same area. So it looks pretty neat. I like it. I think it's a good way to kind of wet the whistle or wet the feet or wade into the pool of light meters for the brand new photographers that only have shot digital. Because if you haven't used a light meter, and let's say you're doing studio work, it's so nice to use one. And let's say if you want to just do a solid white background, but you don't want the person completely blown out.
Right.
Well, you can very easily, measure the light in the background, measure the light on your subject, and that's it. It's that simple.
Yeah,
do a couple of stops one way.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple of stops in the back to the front, and you're golden. For the most part, you're pretty much 90% there in comparison to hunting around. So many people are like, they'll take 50 shots before they get it right. Whereas you could just take a light meter, do bang, bang, 2 shots, and then you dial it in and you're pretty much done, and you could fine tune it.
Sure. A lot of people say, well,
you
you can use the histogram. You can pull that up to, to balance things out. You can, look at the LCD on the back of the camera. You can use it, if you're hooked to an external monitor or whatever. Sure, there are other ways to do it. But if you are familiar with a light meter, or even if you're not and you want to try this out, I think it's like $25 or something. It's cheap.
Yeah.
You know what? If it were $100, I'd say, don't spend your money. But, for that much, and you drop a couple dollars more and get a real light meter, a hardware-based light meter. But, for $25, it might be kind of fun to play with it, see how it works. And if it is accurate enough for you and you are getting good results and you are doing the studio work, even if you're doing location work, but, if you're doing studio work where it is a little bit more controlled environment, once you get that light dialed in during that whole course of the shoot, you should be fairly close. So,
yeah, no more, spray and pray. You know what I mean? You'd actually lock it down. Like we always say, get it right in the camera. Time is money.
Yeah.
To kind of circle back to the whole Lightroom thing. One of the things that, back to the whole get it right. and getting things done, let's say pre-post. I consider Lightroom as not being post-production, even though it is. For me, post-production is as soon as I go into Photoshop. That's when time starts,
slipping
you
away.
Lose track of time. Yeah, it just slips away. Especially if you're OCD. But anyway, so, if you can possibly get the latest and greatest Lightroom, and it will get you there to a image that you can say, this is quality enough for me to put out, let's say, into the ether, then it's worth getting. So you don't have to go to Photoshop.
Right.
The same way with the Lightroom. The light meter. If you can get it right in the camera.
Sure. It's that
one
much
shot,
less you have to do later.
Less in post, less trying to manipulate pixels. Because I can tell you one thing. You go buy a histogram and it's reading basically a medium, like 50% across the board. And it's taking this average right across the entire room. And you're trying to do, you're shooting, let's say snow, or you're shooting someone that's extremely white skinned on a black. There's issues. And what will happen is you'll think that it's right. And then when you'll get into Lightroom, you'll take a look at the pixels. You'll be like, oh my God, I'm actually, I've lost data.
Yeah.
Let's say in their eyes or on the, on a little shine on their forehead. That data cannot be fixed. You have to actually bring in new skin, to stick that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing in the darks, you'll end up with colored pixelation and other stuff, possible moire and a lot of other problems. Just, if you can play with something like this, go ahead and give it a shot. Take a look at a light meter, borrow one, or use something like this. $25 is pretty cool.
Yeah, sure.
So anyways, I think it's time to go and take a quick little break, drink some more coffee, and everyone will be right back. Hang in there.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. From phones, tablets, laptops, and PCs, these days photographers use multiple internet-connected devices.
Have you ever wished you could view your Lightroom images, folders, collections, and metadata from any of these devices? Now you can.
Mosaic Storage Systems has created Mosaic View, an application that gives you access to your images without exporting or using a publishing service.
Mosaic also offers Mosaic Archive, which directly integrates with Lightroom as a powerful cloud backup solution.
Mosaic gives photographers access to all of their images from anywhere on virtually any device.
Try Mosaic View today for free and access 2,000 of your most recent images.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, Mosaic is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans.
Go to mosaicarchive.com and use coupon code DPC at checkout.
Mosaic. Lightroom, anywhere, any device, secure, backed up. As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. All right, Joe, so we are back. And, this week I wanted to talk about, a business thing. We try and do that every week. And this week I kind of want to look at, about becoming a partner and not just a vendor to your clients, and really showing and proving to your clients your worth and really why they should be hiring you.
Right. Over the next guy, right?
Yeah, over the next guy. So really what it comes down to is you really need to take a vested interest in your prospect's business or their personal needs. I mean, it's not just a matter of doing a one-time job. You really want to understand what their goals are, understand their business, understand their needs so you can better serve them. And
Absolutely.
And that really is, going back to becoming more of a partner than a vendor. I mean, a vendor may just go in there, do what they're being asked, and get out and get paid. But when you become a partner and you take that vested interest and you're showing the client that you really do care about their business, they're going to care a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. The idea of becoming a partner and, getting to know them, getting to know their business and helping them and providing, extremely poignant information based on their problems, their sticking points, their pain points to kind of help them out is very beneficial. And that it makes a customer for life and not a one-time thing, like you said, because we know how expensive it is to get a new client. It is very cheap to keep a client if you do it right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because the fact is, a client will come to you, and now whether this be photography or other creative services, because again, a lot of our audience, they are getting involved in design and other areas. So this is kind of a creative industry type of approach that we're taking here. But, when you start talking to a client and you're answering their questions, you're making suggestions for ideas, things that they may not have even thought of, and this really helps to secure you in their eyes as, you're really worth the investment. You're worth the extra money maybe over the next guy.
Yeah, they get to know, they know if you're putting in 110% or if you're just kind of skirting through it and just, okay, let's get this done and that's it. It's very easily seen. People can feel that. So you really, it's important, one of the other aspects, of course, is, for me, it's important to be likable because when a client is hiring out, especially commercial clients, they have many options. There's a lot of commercial photographers out there. Let's say if you're doing something on set and you're doing, you're working for a DP, director of photography, let's say on set for a movie or whatever, and you're doing a shoot for, let's say, for example, posters. They, to be able to go in there and do these, to do the shoot, let's say it's going to be a 2 or 3 day process.
Yeah.
They need to know that they can work with you, but they need to know that you're, of course, capable of doing it. But one of the major factors of getting hired is likability.
Yeah.
They want to know that they can hang out with you for the next 3 days without, having any kind of confrontations and, that you're listening, that you're contributing and not just banging it out and just hoping for the best and just kind of getting through it.
Well, that's right. It's your personality plays such an important factor here. I mean, if you're a curmudgeon and, and you're negative about everything, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be in a public service business. You don't want to be on the other end of the phone of that tech support over there. Nobody wants to deal with somebody like that. They want happy, upbeat, not fake people. I mean, not everybody's always happy all the time, but you need to be upbeat. You need to have that likable personality that people can connect with. Maybe you're not going to hang out with them on a regular basis. You're not necessarily going to become buddies, but while you're with that person, you want that experience to be the best that it can be. And that really is on you as the partner, as this person coming in here to perform these services for them. It's on you to take that initiative because the client may not. It's not their job to be likable. It's your job to be likable. So.
Exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. I like the term partner, instead of a vendor. It it makes sense. But kind of boil down the partnership, by you going in there and actually giving them suggestions that they might never have thought of,
Yep.
Commentary on what's going on, advice. Maybe it's industry advice, something like, for example, you're out there and you do a specific task on a regular basis, and you say, you know what, maybe not. Don't use them. Go ahead and use them. I've already worked with them many, many times,
Right.
and you can kind of direct them. Now, all of a sudden, you're a partner. You're not only just doing your job, but you are valued much, much higher, and they'll come to you
Sure.
with questions. Once they come to you asking you anything that's beyond your normal quote unquote task, you're now a partner.
Yeah, you're looking out for their best interests. And you know what? That really comes down to budget as well. Budget is, especially in today's times, we talk about it all the time, is so important. It's so critical to the client. Their money's tight. So you obviously, we're in business to make money. We want to be able to charge as much as we can and get paid for it. But you know what? You can't always do that. You can't charge for every little thing, and you can't keep marking things up and jacking things up and steering them in directions where you're just taking more and more money out of their wallets, because they're going to get wise, they're going to catch on, and they're really going to start getting annoyed and offended and feel that you're trying to take advantage of them. So, what I like to do is, if there's the ability for them to do some of the tasks themselves and take some of the work away from you, then that's great, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to show them that you're trying to work with them. Maybe when you explain to them the task and say, well, you know what, you could do some of this yourself. For example, like when I do websites, okay?
Right.
Data entry, like entering the content, entering the information from, for the about pages and the home page and all that stuff, all the text. I can certainly do that. And I can charge them by the hour to do that. But working in WordPress, the admin area is easy enough that the client really can go in there and do it themselves. So I tell them that. I say, it's not in my best interest to take every dime from you and just keep, sticking it to you.
Right.
If you can do some of the work yourself, that's great. You know what? Because I'm being paid very well for the work that I'm doing. And that stuff really is copy and paste and format. It's something that they can do. They can make it look decent. You're not needed for, and you don't have to spend the time doing it.
Yeah, matter of fact, didn't you get some type of speaking gig or something recently, kind of, which ended up turning into a website type of project?
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny, yeah, because last week I think I mentioned I got the opportunity to speak and do a photography workshop. It's like a 45-minute. It's a nice little quick, photography for beginners type of thing. But in doing so, working with the contact person at this facility, just having conversation with them through email and stuff. Kind of one thing led to another, and at the end of one of my emails, I said, well, you know what? If there's anything else I can help you out with, please let me know. And and it's funny. She replies back and she says, well, a matter of fact, I'm working on this new project, and part of the project is a website. And well, there you go. So now if I didn't make that initiative, if I didn't really take that interest in what they were doing, offer my services to them, I never would have found out about this website opportunity.
Right. Kind of to parlay that into something that we do over here that helps out. Now, if you listen to the show for a while, I'm a commercial photographer. I do a lot of models and actors. And sometimes we'll get parents that call in and say, listen, I want Johnny or Susie to be a model and blah, blah, blah. And, so instead of just saying, okay, come on in, this is how much it is, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. What I normally will do is I'll have a little conversation with them and ask what they're, looking to get out of it. What are they, what is the goals? What, how much time per week do they have to do it?
Right.
And basically, not, I would say, I address some of their pain points, some of the stuff that they are just unsure of. I say, okay, so this is what it is. Now, many times they'll say, hey, do you know an agent or an agency to use? I will never, ever give out an agent or an agency to any of the clients. And the reason I do that is because you just never know when an agency will go under, or, change of ownership. This has happened in the past. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And then all of a sudden the agency that you say is great, all of a sudden ends up really bad, doing stuff that you would not support ever.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you are, kind of in a position that you recommended them and now it makes you look bad. So, but, I might say, listen, take those photographs, do headshots, maybe don't do a comp card. Once you have those headshots, send it out to, let's say, 75-mile radius to the different agencies, see what happens. Don't sign in the first 6 months because, if your daughter or your son really looks great, they're going to want to sign you right away.
Right.
Test out your options. And then, once that's all done, maybe then you might want to do a comp card if that's what needs to be. And then finally, maybe a portfolio. Most of the people out there, they'll immediately try to ramp them up into like a $2,000 portfolio that they'll never use. And it's just a waste of money. So what happens is they look at me as giving them, once again, as a partner, information that they can use that will help them not only save money, but it gives them knowledge of the business that I have, gleaned over the many years.
Right.
And they feel like they can trust me, which they can. So that's the difference. That's what sets me apart. Like you were talking about with you, by giving them all of that quality information, they look at you like more than just the worker or someone to just, do the task. They view you as a partner. So that's very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you know what? I mean, a lot of the things that we're talking about here, we're basing on our years and years of experience in the business.
Right.
If you're an emerging pro, if you're just starting out, if you're an advanced shooter and you want to kind of just get into the business or what have you, you may not have this experience to pull from. Now, that's okay. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So,
Absolutely.
that's where you take it to the next level. Maybe you can't offer them all these different suggestions. Maybe you can't answer all of their questions. I mean, you certainly want to try. But what you can do is provide, exceptional customer service.
Right.
And you can make your product the best quality that it can be. You don't have to have 20 years of shooting experience to be able to make a great product, to make a great image, to give them what they need,
Absolutely.
So anybody can take these and apply it as you develop the experience, and you can start offering more, to your clients in the future. That's when you do it. There's no cutoff point. Like, okay, I've worked for 5 years. Now I can be more of a resource. No, I mean, you can be a resource tomorrow. If you find out a little piece of information that somebody can use that will help them on their journey, you tell them about it. You let them know about it,
Share, and share some more. I mean, that's the one thing that I learned, years ago as a photographer. You would never share techniques.
Yeah.
You would never share your contacts. You would never share anything about it. Everything was very, very
sure. It was like a magician's secrets,
Absolutely. And, from day one, I've always shared and always taught whenever I can, because, teaching is learning, learning's teaching, back and forth. So yeah, absolutely. And, when it comes to this, if you don't have all that experience, it's going to come into a question of price, right? So
always
how
comes
much
down
do you
to
charge?
price.
Always comes down to price. Don't underbid yourself. Don't undersell yourself. Take a look what your market is bearing for the work that you're doing. So let's say you're doing real estate. See what the top real estate photographers are charging, and then see their work. Can you replicate that work? Are you as good? If you're not, that's fine. You might want to charge a little bit less because they're most likely making great work. And remember, they're not just vendors, they are partners because they have a lot of experience. So you might want to charge a little bit less, but don't go and lowball it.
No.
Because the bottom line is you start lowballing it, you will be seen as a photographer that is just starting, number one, and not as good as the rest. You're not going to get business. That's it. That's
no, I mean, it's like when you go out to a contractor who's going to do a house renovation. You go and you get 3 bids, and one guy comes in with, a really high price. Another guy comes in with a really low price. And then a guy comes in the middle, and you start looking at their work, and you start, oh, can you give me references? And, oh, this guy was great, blah, blah, blah. And then you start realizing like, well, maybe the cheap guy really isn't the one I want to go with. Maybe he's just starting out, or maybe he's a hack and he knows he's a hack and he's going to half-ass your job, and you don't want that either. So price is very important, and dialing in that price is sometimes very difficult. You know, you have to take some time and try and really figure out what you're worth dollar-wise, what you can offer the customer, and what they're going to be willing to pay for it. Now, in the same hand, don't think that you're greater than what you really are. You know, many people say, well, you know, I want to be a pro, and pros are out there charging $500 for this, so I should charge $500. You can, and you may get a job. And if you are not performing at the same level as that seasoned pro, and your work is mediocre, that's really, really bad. It's bad for you. It's going to be bad for your reputation. You're not going to get the word of mouth. The client is going to be disappointed that they didn't get what they paid for, what they thought they were paying for, you know, and then it could turn into, well, I'm not paying you because you didn't give me what I wanted. And so, you know,
Yeah. It kind of goes all the way back to the beginning, you know, where we say that, you know, you need to bring in these, you know, to bring in a client is very expensive, but to keep them is very cheap. So, you know, that's why they need to see value in what they're getting from you, regardless of the price. You know, and like you were saying, you have like the low ball guy, the guy in the middle, and then the guy at the top end. Yeah. What most likely happens, the guy in the middle is the guy that gets the job. That almost always
usually
happens.
is.
That's the majority. And what people will do is they'll compare the middle guy to the top guy and see what is the difference in what they are not getting with the middle guy.
Right.
And the low ball guy, they won't even get a consideration because they'll look at it like, well, why is he so cheap?
Exactly.
That is, people don't say, why are you so expensive as often as why is it so cheap? And that goes the same thing with products. When you see a product on the shelf and it's $10 and you see the same product, you look at it and it's $1, you'll pick it up immediately and you'll say, okay, so what is going on here?
Is this a knockoff made in China or something? Or
Right.
Yep.
Right. Like, or what does this not do that the other one does? So don't undersell yourself. Do not lowball the industry. You'll get a bad name, number one. Number two, you really can make more money as long as you're on point. And don't forget, it's quality and customer service. If you don't have the experience, you need to give top quality on what the best that you can do, and your customer service has to be stellar. And that kind of semi makes up for that experience that you don't have.
That's right. That's right. And you know, you really want people to be talking to you down the road, saying to you, "Oh my God, you know, you've helped me so much. You know, every time I call with a question, you've been able to answer it for me. You know, you don't have to go and, oh, I'll get back to you on that, you know." And I get that a lot from my clients as well. And that's so important in this relationship building, because business is all relationships. And they say, oh, it's business, it's nothing personal. Business is personal, personal is business. Everything is so mixed, especially nowadays. And you need to be a real person. You need to be authentic. You need to be transparent. And you need to serve in their best interests. So,
and that's where you get that word of mouth, and word of mouth is the absolute cheapest and best advertising that you can possibly ever obtain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But anyways, I think we're running over like always here. We need to get out of here. Hope you guys got some good information. We kind of got in I would say like a little hole and got delved pretty deep into it.
Yeah, a little bit of a rabbit hole, but it's all good. I mean, hopefully people pull something out of this, and it really benefits them in their business. I mean, that's what our objective always is. So
absolutely.
All right, so Joe, if people want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Find me on Twitter. That's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
That's great. And you can always send me a message on Twitter. It's at Trevor Curran.
All right, everyone, we are out of here. You can get show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/94. And don't forget, if you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/iTunes. So keep your questions and comments coming, and we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe Show with Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.